please stand for the flag salute. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mrs. Turner? Mr. Bromhall?
Here.
Mr. Gaffney?
Here.
Ms. Iacone?
Here.
Mr. Kenny?
Here.
Mr. McGuckin? Ms. Quinn? Ms. Trompe? Ms. Fitzwater? Here. A statement is hereby made that adequate notice of this meeting was given by submission of said notice to the Burlington County Times, the Courier Post, the Cinnaminson Township Clerk, and the district website on January 6, 2022, and to the Burlington County Times, and district website on August 24, 2022. Mr. Gaffney, can I have a motion to convene into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're going into executive session until approximately 7 p.m. when we will reconvene.
All right, very good. Board members, if you really need anything, you can leave your computers.
He needs to know.
Absolutely.
plug. Any chance we can get an extension cord, Mr. Grill? Christie, he's going to get you an extension. That might be a trip clothesline.
Yeah, that's a little. People up. Yeah.
Which one? Yeah, do tonight. Yeah, no, it's not charging. Sorry. Right now it's working.
All right, I updated the dates on here. Hold on.
Thanks.
Right, okay, that's fine. Mrs. Turner, can I have a motion to reconvene the public meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Gaffney. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Back in public session. All right, we're going to start here in Section 4, routine business. A, the Board Secretary report for May 22nd and May 2022 and June 2022. The Treasurer's report for May 2022 and June 2022. The budget receipts and transfers for May and June of 2022. The monthly transfer report as of August 17, 2022. The high school activities report for June and July of 2022. The food service management cost performance statement for June of 2022. The certified bill list for June 9th through June 30th, 2022, July 1st through July 31st, and August 1st through August 24th of this year. We have also the approval of minutes, the regular meeting on June 14th, executive session on June 14th, and the second executive session on June 14th. Mr. Kenny, can I have a motion to approve routine business items A through H?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Turner. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mrs. Trempe? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Brownbaugh?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 5, routine matters. We have the enrollment report as of August 26, 2022, the health report for June of '22, the fire alarm report for June of '22, the crisis drill report for June of '22, and the superintendent's monthly report. Mr. Capello.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Thank you, members of the public, for being here this evening. It's been a long summer and quite a little bit of time since this body has gathered in a public forum, and I appreciate your presence here this evening. I say this every year in the late August, early September board meeting, but this is the most exciting time of the year. I know as superintendent, I start to get those same first day jitters about a week before the start of school, because slowly, it's a slow burn as we welcome folks back. Over the course of the last week or so, you may have seen on our social media, we welcomed our transportation workers back, and now we are in the midst of our orientation schedule. So we had kindergarten orientation last Wednesday. That's always a great program, so thank you to the staff, the kindergarten teachers, and the administration at New Albany School. I understand it was a fantastic event. Our sixth grade orientation was this past Thursday. Again, much kudos to the administration for organizing a great night there. And then today was our third grade orientation, and presently happening, our high school administration is just putting the finishing touches on our ninth grade locker night over at the high school, which I hear has gone very well. Last week, the Municipal Alliance sponsored a back-to-school event. We were lucky to have members of the public come out and join us and meet with members of the Board of Education. I'd like to thank Mrs. Fitzwater, Mrs. Turner, and Mrs. Trompe for being available to meet with the public as a part of that township event, and it was very nice. Our new teacher orientation has been taking place over the course of the last 2 days. We have about 25 new professional staff members, and that's not just teachers, but also 3 new nurses and a couple of counselors as well. Just like new students on their first day, they came in a little bit nervous yesterday, but now 2 days into the district, they're ready to hit the ground running, and I'm certainly sure ready to meet your students and children very shortly, and we'll get to maybe meet a couple of them in just a moment. A lot of thank yous due to folks who keep this place running in the summer. First and foremost, I'd like to recognize Mr. Tyndall and our buildings and grounds staff. As soon as the students exit out the door, and even sometimes a couple weeks before, that's when their busy season really starts, and they were very busy this summer with a number of projects, and I'll just highlight a couple of them. This year we went through phase 2 of the refurbishment of memorial classrooms to prepare for our pre-K students. If you recall, last year, pre-K was moved from the New Albany School due to the fact we were out of space, relocated them to the Memorial School to newly refurbished classrooms. Well, this year they did the classrooms on the other side of the hallway, and we're able to do 90% of that work in-house with our very talented in-house electrician, plumber, and talented carpenters. So 2 beautiful new classrooms, about 950 square feet apiece, both with a brand new bathroom, and they look fantastic and are ready to receive the youngest students of Cinnaminson. Additionally, they added some bathrooms to our new learning cottages at New Albany so that we can host the T1 students outside in the learning cottages. They repurposed the computer lab at CHS to form our new wellness center, which this board will hear about at a later time during the year via presentation. They refinished the stage at CHS, stripped off years and years and years of black paint. It seems like every time they do a show, they slather a new layer on. So to make sure that it was safe for the performers, that surface was sanded down and refinished, and it looks fantastic, ready for our musical program this year. They also, as a part of now a 6-year project of rehabbing classrooms at the New Albany School, tackled 2 additional classrooms which received new flooring, new lighting fixtures, fresh paint, and they look fantastic for our students, and we're down to about 5 classrooms left at New Albany School that need to be refinished, and then the whole school will have been redone with new energy-efficient lighting, fresh paint, new ceiling tiles, and new flooring as well. I'd like to recognize Mr. Creel and the members of our technology department. They also work extremely hard over the summer. That's when their project work happens. This is the first year we've started out school in September with a 1-to-1 project from day 1, so that certainly taxed their workload a lot. Also, if you look around the district, you'll see installation of some new security cameras and some new classroom technology as well. So, Mr. Creel, thank you and your team for your very hard work this summer. I'd also like to reach out to our partners over at the township, particularly the administrator, Eric Schubigger, and members of Township Committee, who have helped for years and years engage with us in shared service agreements. This year, we've talked about at this forum in the past, we've had SLEO Class 3 officers in our buildings We've had 4 of them, and this year we are moving to a 5th officer to support now our 5 buildings because Memorial is part of the instructional program, and the township has been very supportive in helping us to afford this endeavor, and have also agreed that they'll be able to cover our buildings should there be an absence of any of the officers. They'll be able to cover with our in-town police force so that our buildings should never be uncovered, and I'm very happy to say that publicly, and lest any actor out there in the public should hear that as well. You'll see our police cars in front of our buildings and know that a sworn member of our law enforcement division will always be there to protect our students. And I'd also like to thank the township. One of the other projects that was done this summer was the removal of the underground fuel tanks at the high school. We had 2 10,000-gallon gasoline and diesel tanks extracted from the ground before any potential for environmental issues may have happened. So as a part of that, and everybody is aware of supply chain issues, we were unable to get above-ground tanks delivered in time for the school year this summer. So the township has been very instrumental in helping to serve as a fuel backup for us for the summer, and I thank them for their willingness to work with us as a part of that. By next week, our fall sports are back. I believe the very first event is coming up Thursday night, a home football game versus Dr. Goldburn's alma mater, Collingswood High School. That should be a win for us. And some of our folks, I like to thank and recognize Mr. Gaffney for going out to hear our marching band, who debuted their new show, Vegas-themed show. And we wish Dr. DeSalvio, Mr. Buchanan, and all of the members of our Cinnaminson High School marching band the best of luck as they kick off their competition season and their football season as well. Tomorrow's an exciting day for me, exciting day for our administrative team as we get to welcome back our teachers for the first time. They're all joining us tomorrow morning at Cinnaminson High School, and it'll be great to see their smiling faces, give them an opportunity to get prepared to receive your students for the day that has been on many of our parents' calendars, maybe circled with a heart for a long time, the first day of school, which will be Tuesday, September 6th for all of our students, and we are very excited to welcome back, wait for it, our 2,800, and as of today, 21 students back to Cinnaminson schools. And if that number seems high, if you've been keeping track over the last 5 years, we're about 13% higher in population in a town that is essentially fully developed. So word has gotten out that this is the place to be. So 2,821, and some of the best teachers, staff members, and administrators anywhere in the state of New Jersey makes us a very proud school district. And with that, Mrs. Fitzwater, that is the superintendent's reports.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Mrs. Trompe, can I have a motion to approve Section 5, routine matters, items A through F?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Turner. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Iacone?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion passed. Moving on to Section 6, we don't have any high school or middle school representatives yet. Stay tuned. We are moving on to Section 7, presentation on district report. Mr. Capello.
Thank you again, Mrs. Fitzwater. And as in the superintendent's report, it's always great to share some of the more points for celebration in our district, as I did this exercise a few months ago when we reported the student safety data system reports year over year. It's a requirement for the New Jersey Department of Education that we report a variety of incidents that take place in our schools. And as we imagined coming out of a post-COVID year where a great number of our students were at home or in a remote setting, we did see an uptick in a number of our categories. And as we would have anticipated, we are seeing an uptick year over year in some of the incidents related to violence, vandalism, and HIB in our schools. These reports are publicly available on the board agenda for this evening, so I would ask any interested parties to take a look. These are our numbers, and they give us a baseline for us to be able to address frankly, some of what we saw in our schools last year. So looking at the report, I'm on page 1. We're looking at the second report period for last year. That is the time period January through the end of the school year. They're reported twice a year, once September to December, and then once the latter part of the year. And you can see as I'm looking down the list here, Cinnaminson High School, 28 incidents, Cinnaminson Middle School, 60 incidents, New Albany, 0 incidents, 29 incidents at the Rush Intermediate School. And for the first time now, we're listing Cinnaminson Memorial School as a separate NJDOE report school, and they are 0 incidents reported there. Now, these are incidents of violence, vandalism, substance, weapons, and confirmed cases of HIB. They are delineated in the latter columns into HIBs alleged, and there also is some of our proactive measures where we document HIB trainings as well as HIB programs. When I use the acronym HIB, clearly most of you will recognize that that's harassment, intimidation, and bullying programs. Moving right along, moving on to the second page, I think this is probably the most telling piece of data where there's a point of comparison from the same report period, 2020, 2021, versus last year, the 21-22 incidents. And you can see almost universally an uptick in every category, repeating the same numbers that I just mentioned. Looking across, again, on the bottom part of page 2, you'll see where the district was at in 2021. So that is an increase of 6 incidents at the high school, 27 at the middle school. It remained stagnant at the New Albany School, and actually it took a significant turn downward trending at the Eleanor Rush School. But essentially what we were looking at is a total of 12 incidents that qualified. Again, these are incidents of violence, vandalism, substance abuse, weapons, or confirmed HIB infraction year over year, 12 versus 64. And again, we recognize that the year prior, a great number of our students were remote for a large portion of the year. However, this does create for us now, again, a baseline by which to address issues that happen in our schools. The next few pages do a further breakdown by school. I don't want to read just stuff that is off the paper there, but you can get a better indication of, at each of the school buildings, where we were at in terms of incidents. And then you'll also see a category there, which is sometimes a point of confusion, other incidents leading to removal. These are other discipline infractions that didn't necessarily meet that violence, vandalism, substance abuse, but they were still events that led to a student's removal from the school. So a typical suspension in a disciplinary environment. HIB alleged, when you see that again, that is harassment, intimidation, bullying, that is someone making an allegation of it. And then we have HIB trainings, were programs that were proactive to address for staff, as well as HIB programs. This information has already been submitted to the New Jersey Department of Education, and our exercise and presentation tonight is for the board to approve these findings. So they are being shared with the board this evening. And Mrs. Fitzwater, if you would be willing to make a motion or ask for a motion to have this report accepted by the board.
Sure. Mr. Bromhall, can I have a motion to accept item 7, letter A, the district report?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trompe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Iacone?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Section 8 is correspondence to the board. I did get a nice thank you from Tamara Kowalski, who is with Dream Big Productions, thanking us for the use of the the high school auditorium this summer. They put on 2 shows. I think Mr. Bromhall's children were in those. So she sent along her thanks for their use of that. Anyone else have anything to share? Okay. We have no committee reports for this month. So we move on to Section 10, public comment for any items that are appearing on the agenda tonight. Okay. Moving on to Section 11, personnel certificated. Mr. Capello.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. I would like to start with Section 11, Personnel Certificated, Letter A, Appointments and Transfers. I'm seeking the board's approval, and I will mention for members watching at home, I would direct you to our district webpage and our board docs where the agenda lists all of the items that I'm going to ask the board to approve. So under Letter A, seeking the board to approve items 1 through 14, Appointments and Transfers. Under Letter B, seeking the board to approve items listed in the agenda 1 through 6. Under Letter C, Teaching Overloads, asking the board to approve items listed in the agenda 1 through 3. Under Advancements on the Salary Guide, we have none listed in the agenda this evening. Under Letter E, Extra Duty Appointments, asking the board to approve numbers 1 through 17, all items listed in the agenda. We have no leaves of absences. Under Letter G, Substitute Teachers and Nurses, again, I refer you back to the agenda, asking the board to approve items 1 through 4. Under Letter H, Tutors, asking the board to approve numbers 1 and 2. Under letter I, also in the agenda, seeking the board to approve numbers 1 and 2. Under letter J, mentor teachers, asking the board to approve the items listed in the agenda under number 1. Finally, letter K, asking the board to approve $19,000 of the salary, or approximately 30% of the approved salary, for special education preschool teacher Kate Johnson to be paid for out of IDEA preschool grant funds for the 22-23 school year, the only item listed in the agenda under letter K.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Ms. Iacone, can I have a motion to approve Section 11 personnel certificated items A through K?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trempe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. Bromhall?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 12, personnel non-certificated. Mr. Capello.
Thank you. Once again, I'm in Section 12, under letter A, resignations, retirements, suspensions, terminations, asking the board to approve items listed in the agenda, number 1 through 6. Under letter B, seeking the board to approve items 1 and 2. Under letter C, asking the board to approve items 1 through 11. Under extra duty, asking the board to approve items listed in the agenda, numbers 1 through 9. Under letter E, asking the board to approve numbers 1 through 3. There are no job descriptions under letter F this evening. And under letter G, asking the board to approve numbers 1 through 7. Mrs. Fitzwater, that's non-certificated. And then we're going to take a brief pause and meet some votes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Capello. Mrs. Turner, can I have a motion to approve Section 12 non-certificated items A through G?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trempe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. Bromhall?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved.
All right, Mrs. Fitzwater, well, I just mentioned that the last 2 days we've been doing some new teacher orientation, and we're very proud of the new staff that are going to be joining us for the upcoming school year. We've got some fantastic teachers, nurses, and counselors, and some of them have taken time out of their schedule to come to our board meeting this evening. So starting with our youngest folks, I'm going to ask Mrs. Jones, if you would please introduce us to who's going to be joining us from the New Albany School this year.
I'd like to introduce our first grade teacher, Cinnaminson. She is a graduate of Harvard University. I'd also like to introduce Danielle Burson, who is a second grade teacher. She is a graduate of Harvard University. And I have also
Congratulations and welcome. We're not done. Mrs. Mealy, if you would represent the Rush School.
two staff members. Caroline Rockhill, who is joining our special education group from fifth grade at Trevor School. Not a new face to Rush School. She was with us for student teaching through our university, and then was a permanent sub in our building last year. So we're very pleased to be having her as a permanent member of our staff. Once again, special education on the fourth grade. Good evening. It's my pleasure to introduce Danielle Black. She's going to be our school nurse in middle school. She's coming to us with over 20 years of experience in home health care, a lot of years with pediatrics, and she did her field experience in middle schools and fell in love with the population. So here she is, and we're excited to have her this year.
Great. Thank you. Welcome. And you may have noticed our folks from the high school are not here, so I've asked Dr. Goldburn to pinch hit for the high school.
Joining our counseling department at Cinnaminson High School, a person who spent the past couple of years working at the Glassboro School District as a counselor, got degrees from Stockton and the College of New Jersey, a 2013 graduate of Cinnaminson High School, and a former science student of mine here at the middle school. Welcome back, Janae Dawkins.
All right. Thank you all for being here this evening.
Thank you. Okay, and we're going back to Dr. Goldberg for curriculum and instruction.
Thank you very much. 13, letter A, requesting board approval of the professional development requests that are attached. Under letter B, requesting approval of the field trip requests that are attached, as well as the approval for the senior class trip to Disney World this coming March. Under letter C, requesting board approval of the textbooks that are listed in the agenda. Under letter D, requesting board approval of the instructional materials that are listed in the agenda. Under letter E, requesting board approval of the HIB school level and district level grades from the, and that is correct, the 2020-21 school year. These grades are on a scale from 0 to 78, and those numbers are compiled at the school level. Committee of the administration, the anti-bullying specialists, teaching staff members, in which they do a self-assessment on their adherence to the anti-bullying Bill of Rights here in New Jersey, and the scores for the respective schools and the agenda, and the district are laid out in the agenda and posted on our district webpage. Under letter F, Board readopts the evaluation instruments listed in the agenda for administrators, supervisors, as well as teaching staff members. Under letter G, requesting board approval of the submission of the ESEA grant for the upcoming school year. Under letter H, requesting board approval of the building level and district level professional development plans, as well as the statement of assurance for our district PD plan. And lastly, letter I, requesting board approval of the research proposal of Rebecca McDonough, third grade teacher at Rush School, to conduct literacy research as part of her graduate coursework through Rowan University, in accordance with district policy number 3245. Request approval of those items, please.
Thank you, Dr. Goldburn. Mr. Gaffney, can I have a motion to approve Section 13, items A through I?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trempe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. Bromhall.
I, however, I abstain from item 13A, line 25.
I, except for I abstain from line 13A, line 31.
I, except for I abstain, item 13A, line 32.
I, except I abstain. Item 13A, line 27.
I, except I abstain from 13A, line 33.
Aye, but I abstain from item 13A, line 32.
Okay. And I, except for item 13A, line 26. Aye to everything else. Motion approved. All right, moving on to special education. Mrs. Llewellyn.
Thank you. Under letter A, contracts, seeking the board to approve 3 student contracts with the New Jersey Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired to provide services for the 22-23 school year as follows. Level 1 services for 2 students, Level 2 services for 1 student, and Level 4 services for 1 student. Under letter B, student placements, there are none at this time. Under letter C, consultant agreement, seeking the board to approve the following consultant agreements as requested by the district for the 22-23 school year at the rates listed in the agenda. Number 1, Virtua Health Incorporated to provide physical therapy. Number 2, Speech Language Associates to provide speech language therapy. Number 3, Making Friends Social Center to provide social skills services. Number 4, Empower AAC to provide AAC evaluations and support services. Number 5, Hewitt Psychiatric PC to provide psychiatric evaluations. Number 6, Out of Sight Teaching LLC to provide orientation and mobility therapy. Number 7, Barbara C. Feinblum to provide home instruction. Number 8, Melissa Phillips to provide speech and language specialized services. And number 9, Kenyon Learning and Consulting LLC to provide assistive technology services. And that is it under special education. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Llewellyn. Mr. Kenny, can I have a motion to approve special ed items A through C?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trempe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. Bromhall?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 15, we have no policy and regulation tonight. So we're moving on to Section 16, Business and Finance. Ms. Livingood.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Section A, grants, item number 1, the requests board approval to accept the 22-23 non-public funds for St. Charles and Westfield Friends as attached. Item number 2 is to accept the non-public chapters 192 and 193 funding statement as attached. Item number 3 is that the board approves the submission of the IDEA Part B application and acceptance of funds for the 22-23 school year as attached. Section B, finance, that the board authorizes the payment of bills on a weekly basis for the purchase of fuel at Pilot Travel Centers LLC for the 22-23 school year. Section C, operations, item number 1, school lunch costs, that the board approves the school lunch rates as indicated below for the 22-23 school year. Item number 2, the discarding of equipment, that the board approves the discarding of equipment as attached. Number 3, that the board accepts the following donations. Number 1 is a donation in the amount of $300 for the 4th and 5th grade outdoor education from the Jane Wallenbach Fund. And donation number 2 is for poster board and trifold display boards to Cinnaminson schools from Rite Aid located on Route 130 North. And Section D, contracts, item number 1, that the board approves a shared service agreement between the Township of Cinnaminson and the Cinnaminson Township Board of Education for Class 3 Special Law Enforcement Officers for the 22-23 school year as attached. Item number 2 is that the board approves the shared service agreement between the Township of Cinnaminson and the Cinnaminson Township Board of Education for fuel purchase retroactive for the period of July 18th, 2022 through December 31st, 2022 per the agreement attached. Item number 3, that the board approves the agreement with the Cooper Health System to provide at least one sports medicine physician at each Cinnaminson High School football game for the 22-23 school year as attached. Item number 4, that the board approves the below non-resident tuition contracts for the 22-23 school year. Item number 5, that the board approves the following joint transportation agreement with Camden County Educational Services Commission for the 22-23 school year. Item number 6, that the board approves the pollution mold policy renewal with the Barclay Group for the period retroactive July 1st, 2022 through June 1st, 2023. Item number 7 is that the board approves the lease agreement with RICO for 3 desktop copiers for the 2022 to 2026 time period. Item number 8 is that the board approves the participation in the PEPM Technology Purchasing Co-op. And item number 9, that the board awards bid number 2223-0001 to Pilot Travel Centers LLC for the purchase of fuel for the time period of September 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, as per the attached contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Livingood. Mrs. Trempe, can I have a motion to approve Section 16, Business and Finance, letters A through D?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Turner. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Iacone?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. We're moving on to Section 17, Other Business. Mr. Capello?
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. This first item comes with some regrets, seeking that the board accept, again with regret, the resignation of James J. McGuckin Jr. after 20 years of distinguished service as a member of the Board of Education, and that would be effective immediately. Under letter B, seeking the board's approval on the updated safe return plan. This is an update that's required every 6 months, attached to some of the ESSER money that was made available to schools, and the plan basically outlines our business as usual. Under letter C, seeking the board to approve the deregistration of student whose number is listed in the agenda from the rolls of the Cinnaminson School District due to insufficient proof of residency. Mrs. Fitzwater, those are the items under other business.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Mr. Bromhall, can I have a motion to approve Section 17, Other Business, items A through C?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trempe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Iacone?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Section 18, public comments on other matters. If anyone from the public would wish to speak on any matters.
For any members of the public who would like to speak, we would simply ask that you come up to the microphone. If you would please state your name and your address for the record.
Hi, my name is Bonnie Brooks. I live at 110 Acadia Drive, and I've had 3 daughters go through Cinnaminson High School, and now I have a grandchild that's going to be in first grade this year. My concerns are about the new curriculum, which the email that we got from Frank Goldblum. I haven't had a chance to really speak to you. I'm a little nervous. The topics that are, in the email you wrote, topics that are uncomfortable for some, however, they're frightening to me as a mom. I know that you might not go like the whole distance or whatever, but my thing is, couldn't we have a vote on opting in instead of opting out if the majority of parents and people think that this is something that they want their children taught? And so nervous, sorry. And recognizing and acknowledging that human biology is not ideologic and it is not a form of bigotry. And I just wanted you to know that, and I'm just a concerned mom, okay? And I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing
I
your
don't
remarks.
know
I
if
appreciate it.
anybody else has anything to say. Thank you.
Brittany Relvis, Cinnaminson, New Jersey. I just want to commend, most of you know who I am. I'm not afraid to speak and say my mind. I commend you as a grandmother for standing up here. Not everyone's comfortable with public speaking. I was going to come up here and talk about the sex curriculum and all that good stuff. Y'all know how I feel about it. She brought up a good point about opting in. I 100% agree with you, but how about we start even more basic than that? How about we start about talking to our parents? I know districts upon districts that send surveys out for the last months and months, surveying parents, asking them questions. Social media has got to be a godsend and the worst thing in the world, because it's so unbelievable to me the amount of teachers, people that hold positions on boards, feel that they are so empowered to come out here and decide what they're going to be teaching my child, okay? I post in the Cinnaminson group all the time. Anyone that knows me personally knows I've dealt with Mrs. Melcher. There is not much, you get what you get. So if you think that my kids don't know what's going on and I don't have a conversation with them about stuff, you're crazy, okay? That's not my problem. Something a little more alarming, too, that I was sitting at the kindergarten orientation for my second grader. I have twins that are in 7th grade, and my second grader is now going to go to public school because I figured, finally bought a house in Cinnaminson, $6,000 a year towards my taxes, go to the school district. So you know what? I'm tired of people telling me pay for a private education. All these kids deserve to have an education here. So the assistant principal brought up restorative justice, that the Cinnaminson district is using restorative justice. That's news to me. I don't know if it's news to you, so I'm a little confused when we talk about HIB and then we talk about restorative justice. Half these people are going to look at me and go, what are you even talking about? I didn't know we were a pilot program. I know there's money given to the state for the last 3 years to 15 schools, I believe, and last time I checked, I don't think Cinnaminson was on that list. So what are we doing here? I have, again, twins that are in 7th grade, first year here, last year, both of them assaulted within 3 months of each other by the same kid, physically assaulted. So are we restorative justicing him, or are we making consequences? Because he had another opportunity to hit my other kid. You talk about Rush, and I think all these things go together. I'm going to just shout out the SRO at Rush. He is an amazing person. Maybe we should take a little page out of his book and see how we're dealing with the rest of these kids, especially in the middle school. Word on the street, we had to get Mr. Miley over to the middle school because we're so out of control. I'm tired of everyone sugarcoating, because the kids have been home. That's why 60 HIBs, that's crazy. So I'm going to say it again because I've said it every meeting I've stood up here. Stop sugarcoating it and deal with the issues. It's not because these kids are home. These kids are angry. Talk to them. So if we are going to do restorative justice, are we talking to them? I just don't understand. So you're stuck with me. I'm here. I bought a house here. I have 3 kids in this district. I will come every time. I've sent numerous emails. We've tried to connect, but it didn't even matter at that point because in the middle of emailing back and forth to connect about this curriculum, it was sent out. I've reached out to people on this board asking about curriculum. It was voted on. Does the board even know about this curriculum? So again, I shadow what she says, and I say it shouldn't be opt-in. My kid shouldn't have to go to another room because y'all want to tell her she can be whatever she wants. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public that would like to address the board at this time? Looks like none, Mrs. Fitzwater.
Okay. We'll move to comments from the board. Mrs. Turner?
Thank you. Thank you to the Buildings and Grounds Department for all of your hard work over the summer. The schools look great. We toured them last week. Thank you to the Technology Department for all of your hard work over the summer. Welcome to the new staff in the district. We're really excited to have you on board. Best wishes to the Color Guard and the band for a wonderful season. Best wishes to Mr. Belsky. Thank you for your dedication to our community. Thank you for the donations to our schools. Thank you to Mr. McGuckin for your dedication to our schools. You have left a positive imprint on our township schools. Welcome back, Pirates. Have a great year. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education is Tuesday, September 27th, 2022, at 7 p.m. in the middle school cafeteria right here. Information may be found on the district website. Have a great night. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. And with that, Ms. Syacone, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trempe. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Hi there. How are you?
I originally had an account being this district, but then when I went over.
Yes.